Welcome back to the show. I'm so excited you're here. Before we hop into today's episode, which is a fire ass episode with my girl Courtney, I wanted to let you know a few ways that you could potentially get into my world. If you've been watching me on stories on Instagram, you know we're in the middle of House of Influence, which is my 6-month mastermind. It's going incredible. The women are having such breakthroughs, connecting, the accountability, the fire, the competitive spirit that's just like going off. It's literally life-giving for me, and it's one of my most favorite things to do each and every year. So if you missed out on this round and you're curious about how you can get into our world, we will be having a retreat in Cabo in October. So actual dates will be announced very, very soon, but there is a wait list that you can join that's down below in the show notes. But today's episode is one of those ones that I'm so grateful that I started this podcast, because I have proximity to people that I wouldn't otherwise get 1 full hour of their undivided attention to ask them anything. Courtney today spit some fire and game on what it takes to build a personal brand, how to stay in the game of personal branding, and why LinkedIn is probably your best bet for doubling down on right now. She has a course that I just jumped into that's starting in a few days. So if you are getting this in real time, make sure you check out the link below and see if this course is something that's right for you. I know I'm going to be diving into LinkedIn more with my business and with my clients' business as well. And the other way that you can work with me right now in this season is the VIP days that I host, from hair and makeup to full styling, brand audits, marketing, your funnels, all of the things. We sit down, we ideate, and you get to work with my personal photographer, who is one of the best that I've ever worked with. If you've seen some of my branding lately, she has shot all of those images, everything that you guys are complimenting on. She shot the cover for the podcast. And I just think we're such a dynamic team. So that is something that I'll be offering here. And if you want more information about that, just DM me VIP over on Instagram at Jessica Bergio. Now let's get into the show. Welcome back to the show, you guys. I'm so excited for today's guest. I am usually very excited for a guest anytime I have the opportunity to have somebody on, but today is extra special because I got a chance to jump onto Courtney's masterclass the other day, where she was spitting some fire about how important it is to be on LinkedIn. And I know you've heard it all. We've heard it all. Get on social media, get on here, get on that. But if you know me, you guys know, what have I been talking about? Personal branding for years. So we're going to beat it into you today a little bit harder, but we're going to give you some tools that can help you grow a little bit faster than those who are unwilling to participate in this game that you got to play in order to show up and stand out, right? So Courtney, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, and I just love talking everything personal brand. I think we share the same mission, that it is so important and such an incredible driver of quite literally every opportunity that you ever want.
Quite literally. And that is what we should just dive right into. How has creating a personal brand for you changed the game?
Yeah, so I actually started as a ghostwriter creating personal brands for other people. And after working with dozens and dozens of people, building dozens and dozens of other people's personal brands, I realized I was wasting so much time and energy not creating it for myself. So in about 2021, I decided to go all in on my personal brand. Now I help others build theirs as well. And it's so important because the reason why you want to create a personal brand is not to be some famous person. It's not to be some influencer. It's to have opportunities magnetized to you into what I call an inbound life. So an inbound life means you don't have to keep applying for jobs. You don't have to keep applying for speaking or a book deal or applying to try to get the best people on your team. Like, they're in your inbox every single day. They come to you.
I love that. Okay, podcast done for today. You guys go on now. No, but seriously, and I love that perspective because I've never heard it said that way. And it is so true, because that's what happens every time I put out a piece of content, whether it's a story, it's a live, it's a piece from the podcast, it's a connection to my soul, what I'm thinking, what I'm talking about. But I want to dig into this weird phenomenon that people have been brainwashed into thinking that they need to have a specific fucking niche in order to know what they're going to talk about every time they turn the camera on, know what they're going to post every time they go to post something on social media. Can we dig into that? Because I watched a reel that you recently were sharing, like an analogy of Selena Gomez and how her brand is what it is. So let's break that down for anybody who's still stuck on that idea that they have to have one thing that they talk about and that's the only thing that they do.
If you only post about one thing, you are going to be boring as hell, right? If you only post, here are my workouts, this is the only thing I'm posting, I'm just posting about my workouts, absolutely nothing else as a personal trainer. Nobody is going to want to work out with you. Nobody's going to want to hire you as a personal trainer because you have no substance. There is nothing that makes you different. They can go get these workouts on Google. They can make them on ChatGPT. There's nothing that makes you unique. Now, if you're talking about your workouts, and you're also talking about motherhood and working out postpartum. And then you have your dogs, running around your workout and you're like, this is what it's like living in a crazy house. And maybe you also share about your mental health journey or something that's really important to you, like some sort of values that you have or your faith or whatever it might be. And then you also share that you're really into painting. And then you also share everything about you. That's what's going to magnetize people to you, because if not, you're going to be like every other personal trainer out there. There's nothing different. When you share everything about you and all of your interests, you become a category of one. If I were to just put out personal brand content, nobody would care. But I'm also talking about my interest in psychology and understanding transformation and the cringe. And I talk about where I live in my life. And I talk about the books I'm reading and the things that I'm interested in. And immediately you are choosing to work with me over somebody else because you resonate with me in some way. So it's really, really important to not just pick one niche, because if you do, you're going to be boring as hell.
I love that so much. And I love that you talking about the things that you're actually reading, ingesting, all of that. That's what I always tell my clients too when we're working together. I'm like, if you have nothing of your own that you think is of interest to other people, are you not reading things? Are you not listening to podcasts that are making you feel some type of way? Like, get on and talk about how they're making you feel. Share your perspective, because your perspective is going to be the reason why someone follows you versus someone else who's teaching the exact same thing. So, okay,
Totally.
let's break down the skill set. You also mentioned too, repeating yourself. When you become known for something, how important it is to have your messaging and marketing dialed in so that someone else can repeat what you do to somebody else, right? We're talking about a personal brand, right? That's you, everything you are, everything you do, documenting your process of like how you got there, why you got into personal training, if that's what you do, and sharing kind of that journey and that story. But what about the other side of things? Like I have to repeat myself to the point where it makes sense for someone else to say, hey, you hear somebody has a problem. You're like, oh, you got to go to Courtney. She's the girl for XYZ.
Yeah, this is what I call the 3-second test. So
Ooh.
somebody should be able to look at your profile and explain to you what you do, who you help, what problem you solve in 3 seconds. So the average person is looking at your profile for less than 3 seconds, whether that be your Instagram profile, your LinkedIn profile, your website, and they got to get a good gist of what you do and who you help. So I mean, I know it's crazy, but just like at a restaurant or a bar, just go up to people, have them glance at your Instagram and say, can you share back what I do? And this is an exercise I do at in-person events a lot, and probably 75% of people can't do it. So it's really important. Now, that's not going to come right away. When you first start creating content and building a personal brand, you're not going to know your message. You're going to have 10 million messages. I started posting about real estate and like being an Airbnb host when I started. If I were to only stick with that and say, I can't post about anything else, I would not be where I am today. So it's also important to not put too much pressure on yourself at first. But yes, after you've got 100, 200, 300 posts, then your message should be really dialed in. And you don't have to create your message yourself. I have 2 ways that you can have other people create the message for you. So number 1, just get on a call with 50 people and ask them their problems. Take the transcripts to those calls, and that gives you your messaging. You don't actually have to come up with the messaging. Your audience can. Second, go to your last 100, 200, 300 posts. What are your top 10? Your top 20 posts? That's your messaging right there.
I love that. So, because as I'm listening to you say that, if someone was to look at my page, but I'm actively sharing all facets of my life, how are they going to differentiate between the dog content and the parenting content, and the fact that I help people build personal brands, and that I'm a big proponent for having a podcast as part of your media platform? How does someone structure that? If someone's like a literal mind thinker where they're like, okay, I'm looking at my page, I'm trying to understand how all of this grids out. Is there like a sequence? I know everyone has a different framework and you kind of got to work at your own pace, but I know people listening kind of are like, well, what's the thing I can go and kind of like take edit on, maybe go archive a few posts that don't make any sense anymore or don't pertain to what I'm currently doing? How should we kind of psychoanalyze our own page for a second?
Yeah, there's 2 main things here. One is your bio. Your bio should be clear on what problem you solve. And again, that's relevant to any platform. So I help busy moms lose weight and get fit postpartum or something. Like that would be a really great bio of how you help and the problem you solve. Then your pinned posts can also tell a lot about you. Now there's other indicators like how you look, the colors you're using, the fonts, the other more subconscious cues that are also going to inform people. For example, you might want to look very analytical and experienced. That might be how you want to come across, but actually you're looking very young and inexperienced and creative instead of analytical. So those are also really important things to start to notice. But the bare minimum where to start, just create 1 to 3 pinned posts that share who you are and what problem you solve, and then share who you are and what problem you solve in your bio or headline.
Perfect. Easy. Okay, you guys have homework right there. If you pause the podcast, I'd make a list of 50 people. Who can you reach out to and ask questions to? Who will get on a call with you? Even just send them a type form. Say, hey, if you have no time to get on a call with me, can you answer like 5 questions for me? And again, the people that are watching your content, you can see. You can see who watches your stories. You can see who likes your posts. It's so unlike a podcast, right? We can't see who's downloading our podcast episodes, so we can send out, messages to those people like, what resonated with you? What would you like more of? We have to go over to our Instagram or our LinkedIn and like ask those questions there. So this is the part, I think, that people are too fucking lazy to go do, yet wonder why nothing's growing on the other end. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because people know Jess is a little bit of a tough love, but I'm also someone who helps you take action because I want to see you win. So for those people who are like, that feels kind of cringy to ask people to you're queen of like, fuck worrying about being cringy. Like, cringe is part of like the entry point to being a personal brand and honestly to being an entrepreneur, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to get used to cringe. And cringe is a muscle. Like, yes, cringe might be debilitating at first, but it's something that you get to flex and practice. So as far as these calls, what I do is I position them as a win-win. Like, hey guys, I'm giving away 50 free 15-minute one-on-one calls where I'm going to give you some tips about personal brand. And the main goal of these calls, yes, I'm going to spend a few minutes giving them tips and advice, but the main goal is for me to understand their problems in their language. The truth is, I am far away from my audience. My audience is just starting their personal brand. I've been in the personal brand world for 10 years. So it can be hard for me to have the right languaging that they have. And I might be talking to them in a way that's too advanced, or I might be talking to them in a way that's too abrupt. So if they can tell me their exact problem in their words where they are, I can much easier take that, and that copy is going to convert much better.
100%. And I think that's so true. And I've watched that happen with a lot of people who have grown and scaled their personal brands into, the 6, 7, and 8 figures where they used to talk to the people who were brand new and just starting out, or the people who were thinking about jumping ship and pivoting and even going online in the first place. And being in rooms where I'm like, you're missing the mark. Like, you're talking over these people. They haven't even made their first dollar in the online business. And you're talking about yachts and boats. And I'm like, everybody has a different carrot, but like, you're missing the mark on the room. The room is trying to figure out how to make their first dollar or to go live for the first time on social media. They're not even thinking about buying this 7-figure car right now. So I think knowing who your audience is and who your ideal client is really important too. Do you think though that as you're starting to build your personal brand, you have to start at that bottom level? Or can we look at our past experience, our skill sets, say someone in their mid 40s who's pivoting from another career and speak to a higher level audience? Can we kind of skip that point of entry and go and decide, hey, these are the type of people that I want to work with?
You can definitely skip the entry point. So I think of expertise like an infinite ladder. Imagine a ladder stretching infinitely upwards and downwards. There are always going to be people that are more advanced than you, that know more than you, that are more experienced and accomplished. Infinitely. There are always going to be people that know less than you, that are less experienced and accomplished. The goal is not to get to the top of the ladder and become the most qualified person in the world in order to finally teach others. The goal is to teach people 2 rungs below you on the ladder. So wherever that is, that's great. I had somebody come through my webinar who was a medical student who really wanted to build his personal brand. And he was saying, I'm not even a doctor yet. I can't share anything. Like, I don't have expertise. I'm like, sure, yeah, you're not an expertise in medicine, but you're an expertise in what it's like to graduate undergrad with a biology degree. You're an expert in studying. You're an expert in getting really good scores on your MCAT and moving across the country. And you're a really great expert in what it's like to make new friends in a new city. So that's what content you want to create. You don't have to wait until you're a doctor and an expert in your field, or you'll be waiting forever. You can start helping others today just by looking at who's 2 rungs below you on the ladder.
That's exactly what my last podcast episode was just about. I was like, you guys have to stop self-editing yourself. The things that you think come so easily to you that are not valuable to other people are the thing that you can get on and speak so confidently about. It's like we're waiting to feel confident about this other thing before we start talking about it. When really, like, if you're over the age of like even 25, 30, you have things to talk about. You have some experiences that could help somebody else. I have a friend Jake Kelfer, who helps people write books now. He was in college when he wrote his first book about how to like get through college. it went viral. Like, it was like one of those things where that book became like something that the school took in and became like a curriculum book. And he's like,
Wow.
I just wrote from a place of where I was at. And so many people want to like wait till they get quote unquote there, wherever there is. I'm like, man, you're going to be waiting forever and you're going to be miserable and you're never going to feel like you're going to catch up because somebody else is already 10 light years ahead of you. And so let's talk about comparison a little bit because yes, everybody is building a personal brand right now, or they should be. How can somebody who's like just starting out in the game focus on their own shit?
Yeah, I mean, there's no competition, in my opinion, when you're actually posting. If you want to be in the top 2% of all of LinkedIn users, you post once a week. If you want to be in the top 5% of all of Instagram users, you post twice a week. If you want to be in the top 10% of all YouTubers that have ever existed, you post 12 videos. If you want to be in the top 6% of podcasts that have ever existed, you post 8 podcast episodes. So like there is no competition at the top. The competition is not getting into the nitty gritty strategy and like trying to iterate and make it so perfect. Like, yes, that all is really helpful. But the most important differentiator is if you're actually going to do it, because most people are going to quit after their first, second, third, fifth, 10th post. The game is not perfection. The game is that you keep going and you don't stop, because there is not a single person that has picked a platform, posted consistently over 5 or 10 years, iterated at every point and not succeeded. Like, you're not special enough for it to not work for you.
You guys, come on. I love the spitting of the game with knowing the percentages. I swear to God, when I launched my podcast back in 2020, when I had just opened my salon 6 months prior to, I'd wanted to start a podcast for like 2 years. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I knew I didn't want to just talk about stuff in the beauty industry, but I was like, not seeing high level that you've been an entrepreneur for over 18 years. Like, you have skills, you have things you could talk about, you could help XYZ. So when the salon got shut down, I was like, well, it's game time. And I knew the stat back then was like, if you didn't make it past like episode 10, you were a quote unquote quitter. So I was like, I'm gonna sit down and record 25 episodes before I even launch. I was like, I'm
Love
somebody
that.
I come out the gate and I'm like, we're going hard. So every Monday we sat in studio, which was my salon, and we recorded 4 live episodes every week for, I don't know, however many weeks it took until we hit 25. And then I'm like, now we can launch. And that's what's kept me in the game, you guys. I'm a top 1.5% podcaster and my downloads are not what you think they would be, but it's because I have almost 400 episodes. I've been doing it for as long as I've been doing it. And it's one of the things that I think has literally changed my life in so many different ways. Not only can I articulate without stuttering over my words now, it's allowed me to have people like Courtney and other people say yes on a whim to come give me 30, 45 minutes of their time to come spit game that I'm learning, but also I'm inviting you to learn. So let's talk about podcasting, because I know you love podcasting too. You go on podcasts as a guest and also have your own show. So let's talk about the power of podcasting and how it's helped propel your personal brand.
Yeah, what's interesting about podcasting is, yes, there's been amazing opportunities. There's been cool travel and events and whatever. But actually, the most impactful part of my podcast is the relationships I've been able to start. There's a book I really love called Content-Based Networking, and it's what made me start my podcast. And it basically says, yes, you could go pay this person $5,000 for a one-on-one consultation, or you can start a podcast and do that every single week and get bigger and bigger and more accomplished people to have a conversation with you for 30 minutes or an hour every single week. And the relationships that you will create will be a win-win. It's going to be a win for you because you're getting great advice, a win for them, they're getting promotion and they're getting content, and it's a win for everybody else that's consuming this great conversation and learning from it. And that's been really motivating for me because, yes, the sales and money and stuff like that is great, but I have such a robust, incredible community of people I never thought I would ever have a conversation with that all of a sudden want to say yes to you.
Same. Literally, when I go to the point of like, I'll go on tangents where I want to do a bunch of solos because there's things I'm specifically talking about, or I'm in the middle of a launch or something, or I'm just really fired up and I'm like, okay, you don't need to put out 7 episodes this week. Just batch a few, take a couple days off. But when it comes to like the people that I want in my world, you guys, listen, this is how Courtney got on today. Now, she could have said yes out of the blue for no reason if I would have DM'd her. That is a possibility. It might have happened. But I luckily had the morning free the other day and I'm already in her world. So I get like emails. I see her content. She was on Rich Summers' podcast, which I was recently on. I'm in Rich's mastermind group. So there was that connection where I got to know her through somebody else's podcast. I'm like, I like her vibe. I like her energy. What does she have to offer? And that's usually how it works. It wasn't like the offer and then I got to know her. It was like, ooh, I like this chick. Who is she? What does she do? Does she sell pencils? Does she sell hat? I don't care. I just want to see what she's got. And so I jump on this masterclass. She spits fire. She spits game. She teaches us so much. And all of a sudden she announces this course that she has. I look at the calendar. I'm like, perfect. Aligns with my schedule. And it was close to $3,000 as an investment for learning everything you need to know about really building out your LinkedIn. Is that a big investment? Yeah, I think it is, especially for one specific thing, right? But this is the one thing that I have been avoiding. So when somebody taps into something you've been avoiding that you also can turn around and teach to your coaching clients, to people that you know. My husband's in corporate, and oh my God, please do not look up his LinkedIn, you guys. It was, or maybe you should, and you should just like screenshot it and talk shit and send it to him. Because one of my clients looked it up and they're like, your husband should not have that photo up. And I was like, I
Yeah.
agree.
We'll add him to the calls. We'll get him on.
Well, what's interesting, and I want to share this insight, you guys, is when you invest in people, the proximity game changes, right? It's reciprocal, and reciprocity is a real thing. And so I think that also helped when I reached out right away and I was like, I jumped in your course. I'm super stoked. She offered a bonus call. If you sign up today, like you'll get a one-on-one with me. I'm like, done and done. That feels very worth it because you guys know how much it is to do one-on-one calls. Like she said, with people, how pricey that can be for people who are super busy. Plus, I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow and I'm going to have all this content to implement into LinkedIn. And I was like, time to capitalize. Want to come on my podcast? Want to come teach in my mastermind? And she was like, yep. And I'm like, this is how this works. And I love that we can start to build relationships and friendships in a different way now as we're older, right? Like we're probably never going to go skip down the beach and be besties, but we have this like friendship now online where I'm invested in her and she's now pouring back into me. So that is, again, a proof that stuff like podcasts and, buying into other people's programs and supporting other people in a way that can not only help you, but then you can then pay it forward to other people. I know everybody in my community, in my mastermind right now needs help with their LinkedIn. So it's like, I love learning and then reteaching it. I know no idea is ever mine. I learned it somewhere and I'm always giving credit where credit's due. And I'm like, never the person's like self-made. I'm like, not even close.
Yeah, same.
I'm fucking Oprah. I'm like, I know nothing and I've learned from this person and that person. I'm like, always like that. All right, let's talk to people about how important LinkedIn is because you have something really powerful that you're about to run live and I don't want people to miss out on this. So let's talk about what this looks like and how impactful getting on LinkedIn really can be.
Yeah. So my program is Level Up on LinkedIn. It launches June 8th. So from the time this comes out, I think it'll be about a week. LinkedIn is so incredibly powerful because people are on LinkedIn looking for you right now, right? Our intention on Instagram might not be to hire someone or to buy or to learn something. Our intention on Instagram or TikTok might be to keep up with our friends or watch funny memes or watch sports clips. The intention of LinkedIn is to purchase, to hire, to partner. That's why LinkedIn is so powerful. And out of the billion users on LinkedIn, billion with a B, it's a massive platform. Less than 2% post regularly, meaning one time per week. And what makes LinkedIn so freaking powerful is that Instagram, YouTube, all these other platforms, it's going to take investment. It's going to take probably thousands of dollars a month. It's going to take probably 10 hours a week. It's going to take a lot of mental energy for you to actually grow on those platforms. LinkedIn can take 30 minutes a week and you can grow on the platform. It is so incredibly easy compared to the rest of the platforms, but we don't do it because it's cringe. LinkedIn is also a great place to get corporate deals. So like, who knows? Like there could be a company that, wants to buy 10, 20, 50 seats in your mastermind or wants to have you come speak at their corporate event. Like the corporate deals are also wild when it comes to B2B. So it's just a channel that a lot of people are missing that I love because it's so low lift compared to the other channels.
Yeah. I struggle on LinkedIn because I feel like I, for years, thought of it kind of like a mastermind. Oh, that's for corporate. Oh, that's for the bros. Or like not LinkedIn necessarily, but I've wrapped my head around like I now know what the concept of a mastermind is and I can make it my own. But with LinkedIn, it still feels like a slightly overwhelming platform to me. So is it as complicated as I'm looking at it or not familiar with it as much as say Instagram?
Yeah, it's so much more simple than Instagram.
Okay.
And so many less features, so much more. Yeah, it's like Instagram is like a woman, like it's more complicated. It's like, oh, I'm trying to understand you in the algorithm. LinkedIn is like a man. It's like posts, like your connections will see it, like period. It's very simple. The algorithm is simple. But yeah, we also get to remember that the people on LinkedIn are the same people on Instagram, are the same people on YouTube, are the same people on TikTok. They're just on LinkedIn with a different intention. And again, that intention is to purchase or hire or partner. Also, LinkedIn is so important when it comes to research. Like somebody wants to work with you, Jessica, they're Googling you and LinkedIn is the 17th most trafficked website. Your LinkedIn is going to come up as 1, 2, or 3 in the search results. You can actually probably test it right now and see where your LinkedIn comes up, but it's always in page 1. You want to get investors for your real estate deal. Like people are immediately looking you up on LinkedIn to see if you're credible. LinkedIn just has this other level of credibility that's really, really important to build out. And then also connections are so important on LinkedIn. 5 years ago, I knew that I wanted to write a book one day. So I went and added every single publisher, editor, industry professional that I could find. They've been seeing my posts for the last 5 years. So obviously when it came to getting a book deal, I had a ton of interest. It was so much easier for me than everybody else, not because I did anything super differently or I'm smarter or more qualified than anyone, just because these people had been seeing my content for 5 years and subconsciously have very high trust with me and associate me with being an expert. Whether I am or not doesn't matter. They think I am.
I love that. And you guys, what I'm hearing is you got to put the reps in. She just said for 5 years she's been doing that. And that's the thing where we got to sink our teeth into it. If you start off at a brand new job, let's just say you go walk into a bank and they put you at the teller line. Do you think you're going to be a regional director or a VP in 6 months? Probably not, right? Not unless you came from another company. But if you're brand new in something, I hate the people who feel like there needs to be these quick wins or like things need to happen super duper fast. But if you're telling us that LinkedIn is a less expensive investment of a platform, you guys, that is more reason than not to go there. Because right now with the algorithm, with the way it works on Instagram, having a podcast, having this content and media, that is a lot. It's a lot to keep up with and it's a lot to do at a high level to the money and the investment. It's a real thing, depending on how you want to play the game. But at the end of the day, like your brand allows you to make more money. And that's what she's basically saying is like these book deals, rather than her going to beg for a deal, people are going to be offering her and fighting for it. And there's the chance that she'll get more than she even expected and or multiple book deals. And that's what we want. That was the first thing she said when we jumped on, like, what was it? The inbound life. I'm like, hashtag inbound life. I'm like, come to me, right? What is that? What is that way you track, don't chase? And there was something I caught on one of your reels when you talked about manifestation and you actually flipped it. You talked about money. And I wanted to dig into that just a little bit because I loved your take on manifesting in a slightly different way when it comes to money. You remember what you said?
Yeah. I shared that if you want to manifest money, you have to understand what you don't want about money. So let's say I want to make my first 6-figure month and I'm calling it in. Why isn't it working? I want my first 6-figure month. Well, ask yourself, what don't you want about it? Well, my taxes are going to get more complicated and that's going to be frustrating. I'm probably going to have to do like team bonuses. I don't really know how to do that. I've never done that before. Is it even going to be like, it's just, that's really confusing to me. It's going to be not great because I know I'm going to have to pay my back taxes and that's going to cost like $40,000 of that 6 figure. So I don't want that to happen. And I also don't want to, now I'll be making more money than my partner and then I'll have to tell them and that will be weird. I don't want that. Right. So like, understand what you don't want about money, whatever you're calling in, whether that's $10, whether that's $1,000,000. That is where the work is. And that's where you get to see the shadow of what you're stepping into. So that is one of my favorite ways to manifest anything, even a relationship. Why don't I want the relationship? Well, I'm afraid to lose my freedom. Well, I'm afraid to whatever. So again, whatever you want to manifest, yes, you're sharing with yourself what you want about it, but also understand what you don't want about it and use that as a starting point for that shadow work.
So good. I saw that and I was like, thank you for 10 years of therapy. I have to go now. And I'm going to go write down all the things that's what people talk about. It's not the fear of success. It's the fear of what success will bring of like, or being unsuccessful. The fear of success is the real thing. That's what it is. And I see so many people block themselves from allowing that to come into their life in a way that I know that they desire. I mean, literally, I'm in this mastermind. We're about a month and a half in, and you can see the blocks. And the whole mastermind is called House of Influence. So it's all about building visibility, helping these women show up, the accountability, making content fun again, allowing them to like push each other like, hey, I see you do this, or I see you do that, or I see that you're hiding. And so I just love watching that happen because it's almost like, friendly girlfriend bullying. And I'm like, come on, I want to bring back that competitive spirit. And you also said something in one of your reels, you guys, I love how much content that you had that I got to binge. And I was just like, I fucking love her. She was like, talk about your corporate exit and how that pain was something that you used in order to pull from, because I think a lot of us placate what did happen or what has happened in the past, whether it was an exit from a corporate situation that was like somewhat of a work wound or something with a partnership or a failed business. Maybe you were an entrepreneur forever and something happened and it kind of took you out. And we're not channeling that pain like we see, I'm just going to say it, like a lot of men do, right? They get that fuck it attitude and they take it and they are like, I'm going to prove all you motherfuckers wrong by doing that. And something happened to me recently, which it triggered that little bit inside of me. Whereas like 6 months ago, something happened and I actually went dark for a couple months and didn't podcast. And I told myself, never again. I'm like, And then when this happened, I was like, okay, this is called building resilience, right? We put in the reps in. It happened once, it happened here. I'm like, this is just part of running a business, putting out fires, babysitting people, handling hard shit, pushing through the resistance. But like, talk about your pain point and how you use that to push through and build what you've built.
Yeah, a lot of people think that we need to start pursuing our dreams from this place of love and light and happiness and joy. And although that is amazing and would be a very pure intention, you can do it through rage too. That is a perfectly okay emotion to pursue your dreams through. And yeah, I was in a job where my boss was sexually harassing me and I couldn't leave because I didn't have the money. And it was really, really difficult. But I channeled that rage of realizing like if I have like a daughter one day, she will never be in this situation. I will never be in this situation again. I will make sure nobody in my circle is ever in this situation again. I'm gonna do anything I can. So I thought about that situation a lot. I thought about him a lot, and it really fueled the rage. And it worked as the launching off point.
Yeah, you guys, I'm obviously not going to call anybody out, but I know so many people who are not tapping into that side for fear that it's going to bring up unwanted feelings. It's going to make you, feel some type of way about that. But so many of us have been hurt or have had things happen that you're not acknowledging. And I think it's like a female trait where we just want to play nice. We don't want controversy. We don't want, a public display of, oh, wow, she's out of control. Oh, wow, she's such a bitch. Oh, wow, like look at her be XYZ. And when this thing recently happened to me, I actually took it onto my podcast and I talked about what had happened and I shared my side of the truth. And I was like, this is the power of having your own media channel. This is the power of being able to speak your truth. People are going to resonate with it or people are not. And there are people who are going to want to work with me because I spoke up, and I got more DMs about that podcast episode that I've gotten in quite a few months on any other episode. And it just proved that like you can stick up for yourself and you can use that as fuel to keep going, to show up bigger. Like I've posted more in the last couple of days. I've connected with more people over it because this shit happens to everybody, whether it's sexual harassment like she dealt with in her workplace or online bullying or people copying your shit or people taking your programs and I mean, all kinds of stuff happens online. I've had friends who've had their pages like literally replicated over and they're like, that's just part of the game. Like you just let that shit go. And I was like, I'm like a old school, like I'm like, let's scrap. Where's this person? I'm going to find them. But you turn that into content and you can make content out of just about anything. So what is your process on creating content versus like documenting what you're doing in your real life? It goes back to what we were talking about with personal branding, but like, do you go out of your way to create content or do you more or less try to just document your daily life and your processes of what you do?
Yeah, first, I love what you're saying about the emotion. Like, if you can tap into your emotion, that is actually what's going to create the best content and create the best business decisions. Like, a lot of times we try to numb or put it away, but the rage, the excitement, the frustration, how many amazing businesses or creations have been birthed out of frustration? Oh my gosh, I wish there was a better way. I'm so frustrated. I'm going to go do it myself. So lean into the emotion. So I think of content creation as the masculine energy and feminine energy of content creation. So the masculine energy is knowing your beats, knowing that you're going to put out something on these days, having maybe pre-scheduled content, having a good system, batch creating content. So that's like making sure your content like goes back to an offer. That's a very formulaic, sales driven, organized content, the masculine energy. The feminine energy is I get this idea on my walk. I am literally recording it right then. I get an idea in the shower. I'm staying in the shower. I'm just putting a towel on my head. I'm recording it. I get this idea while I'm driving. I'm pulling off to the side of the road to create this content or write this thing right now. It's like the feminine chaos energy. And that usually performs best. That's usually where your outliers are at because you're in the emotional state of the idea to connect with your audience. So I have a balance of that. I would love to be in the feminine creation energy all the time. I think that's very hard to do, like to be in creative mode all the time. So I have a good balance of, probably 75% of my content is very structured and planned out. 25% is spur of the moment, kind of crazy. Yeah.
Letting people know who you really are. Yes, exactly. I love that. Okay, let's do a little rapid fire. What is your thoughts on wealth creation for a woman?
I mean, I think that wealth creation as a woman gives us options and gives us autonomy. And it's one of the most radical, incredible things that you can do. I love Rachel Rogers in her book, We Should All Be Millionaires. It really talks about this and how women can have more options in their life through money. And so that's my personal motivation, but I think that could be all of our motivations. Like, again, being at this job with a boss who was sexually harassing me, I didn't have the option to leave. People are in relationships where they don't have the option to leave, situations where they don't have the option to leave. And what motivates me is just knowing I always have options, whether it be I don't like a hotel, so I'm going to leave, or a relationship is bad, so I'm going to leave.
Absolutely. And the fact that you get to raise your kid the way you want to raise your kid with whatever schooling you choose to do, wherever you choose to live. Like, I know you're super excited right now. You guys, she's pregnant, about to have a baby, a little boy. It's so exciting. So I'm sure that's one of the things you're most excited about. What else are you really excited about right now? What gets you fired up? I mean, you've been in the game for a long time. Like, what is lighting you up? What keeps you in the game? There was three questions there. Sorry.
Yeah. What keeps me in the game is seeing other people's results. Like, every single day I wake up to messages of somebody saying, they got their dream job. They got this amazing opportunity. It's just people's dreams. Like, I think our world can be the most incredible world ever if we just pursue dreams and help people around us pursue dreams. And so to have an avenue of personal branding that I help people get closer to their dream, whatever that might be, is just so incredibly fulfilling.
So good. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed. Okay. Give us a little sneak peek of what we can expect in this course with you, because I know you could give us a little sneak something.
A little sneak. Yeah. So this is actually the only course in the entire world that brings in somatic reprogramming to LinkedIn. So most people can find information and strategies on LinkedIn, right? You guys have Google, you have ChatGPT and Claude. You can figure out how to build your personal brand on LinkedIn. But why haven't you? Right? If you already have that information, why haven't you done it? And a lot of that comes down to the cringe, the fear of being seen from a time in our childhood when it was not safe to be seen. So in those moments, our body programs not safe to be seen. Our body can also program that we're not qualified enough, we're not good enough. We have fear of judgment, fear of losing our jobs or our clients if we show up authentically as ourselves. So the preview that I'm giving is we have a couple of exercises and special guests that go really into subconsciously unblocking anything in the fear of being seen. And when that's paired with these really effective and quick strategies on LinkedIn, the results just are mind-blowing.
Amazing. That just made me even more excited to start, because about 7 years ago, I experienced my first breathwork session with this couple called the Healing Couple. They're online. Shout out to Corey and Jess. And I remember watching another fellow hairdresser go share her sessions. And I was like, what are you doing? What is that? And I remember going and setting the intention, right? Like, the intention is to get on LinkedIn and to be successful with it, right? So having an intention when you go into a program and you add somatics into it, I don't know if it's just going to be breathwork or what all you're going to bring, but I think the subconscious reprogramming is something that you just cannot overlook. And if you're at the age of, I don't know, anywhere over 40 years old, and you keep running into the same problems and you keep having the same resistance around certain things, the problem is you. And that's okay, because guess what? You can fix that. And I am so all about empowering people to make those changes. And I'm just going to put my husband out there again one more time. We had a brief chat on the treadmill. He was leaving the gym and I was still there, and we were talking, and somehow, he's like, who's on your podcast today? And I told him, and he's like, how'd you get her on your podcast? And I said, well, I invested in this course and I did that, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, cool. I really need to work on my LinkedIn. You know, these headhunters, he was like talking about, potentially looking for something with work. He's like, they want like 150K, and like, it's like this whole thing. And it's interesting, like the mindset of like people in corporate spending money versus entrepreneurs. Like, I think we have a little bit more understanding of the barrier to entry to get into programs and whatnot. And so casually, he's like, well, how much is it? Like, I want to do it too. And I was like, well, I probably could easily share it with you, or we could do it together. Like, whatever that looks like. I said, or if you want to do it yourself. And he's like, yeah, well, how much was it? So I told him, and he looked at me and he was like, shook his head and like walked away. And I was like, because to them, sometimes the understanding of an investment, I'm like, you just told me something was going to be $150,000. Do you know that you could get poached for probably like $500,000 to come to somebody else's company if you had your LinkedIn dialed in? I'm like, the process of understanding what it looks like to invest, I mean, the results are what everyone is seeking. So a lot of times things cost money. My mastermind costs people money to invest in. What other things do you have besides this LinkedIn course that people can dive into? Is there anything on your website that there's more accessibility to, if maybe this isn't the right time for them to jump into the course?
Yeah, I just want to share one thing about that. You're totally right. Like, it is an investment, meaning you're getting your money back. So what's really cool is we actually have a policy to where if you go through Level Up on LinkedIn, you go through all the homework, all the modules, like you fully participate and you don't get your money back, we'll refund you. I have taught thousands of people. Do you know how many people have gotten a refund through that policy? There's never been one. There's never been one. This is why I say you're not special enough for it to not work for you. Like truly. So anyways, my partner also was in corporate for a while and yeah, it took him a while to understand that too. But yeah, I mean, it's called an investment because you're getting your money back. Like I joined my first mastermind this year, $30,000. The first thing that I learned in that mastermind, made it back in like 3 months extra, right? It's an investment. Okay. Something that's more accessible. I have what's called Sunrise Content Club. You can go to sunrisecontentclub.com. I get on Zoom with you every single morning for an entire year for $150 a month. And I tell you exactly what to post. So I got frustrated because people were like, I don't know what to post every day and I need accountability. So I said, great, I will get on Zoom every single morning for an entire year, tell you exactly what to post, and I will not let you leave the Zoom call until you post. So that's a really great, accessible, and psychotic way you can start working with me.
Every day. Do you ever miss a day? Do you have a day off? It's like
I have other facilitators that come in and facilitate with me. But yeah, it's pretty wild. But the thing is, I create content every morning from 8 to 9 a.m. Central. So I'm already doing it.
So you're essentially, you're like, I'm doing this, so we're creating a cohort around this, and boom, bada bing. You know what is so funny? One of the women in my mastermind, the group community, was like saying, we should do like a co-working co-pod so we can create content together. And one of them super intuitive. She happens to be a doctor in Australia, and she's pretty wild, big on YouTube. But she was like, I'm getting this intuitive download that you need to create this co-working content thing. And I'm like, you know what? I just found somebody for you guys who already did it. So let's just go and join Courtney's and we can make content together. That's one of the things I love is like, just because something's a brilliant idea, if it's not really meant for you, someone else is probably doing it. So invest in theirs. And if you want to become an affiliate for somebody's and you're like, I'm going to tell everybody about this, like work that angle. If you're not somebody who's like willing to like start the thing or do the thing, you can become somebody's biggest fan and affiliate. That's how every business grows, is word of mouth, trusted people sharing other people's things. Like I don't share a lot of stuff because there's not a lot of people that I love or have, connected with on a soul level where I'm willing to share my airtime with their products or services. So you guys, if you want to join me in the LinkedIn course, click the link in the bio below and also get into Courtney's world. You're going to love her podcast. You're going to love the way that she connects with her guests, the way that she guests on other people's. Just go Google her. You'll find all of her things. Let's find out. And I guarantee my LinkedIn page will not show up, but I'm going to work on that because you're going to help me fix it. And I cannot wait. So thank you for creating something that I needed and hopefully solving a pain point. I can't wait to get back on here in a couple weeks, you guys, and share my results from this because I know she's about to have a baby, but I'm sure she'll run this program again in the future. I'm sure, I would imagine. So thank you so much. Is there any other like takeaways as far as like building a personal brand that we want to just like sear into somebody's brain today that's like, yeah, but I don't want to share too much personal stuff. Like I hear personal brand and I'm like worried about sharing XYZ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're worried about, there are boundaries, of course, you get to set boundaries, but also start to notice if it's a boundary or a fear. A lot of people say, oh, well, I'm just a private person. Are you actually a private person or is that a fear? I can't answer that question, but you can reflect on it. Last thing I want to say, Jessica, your LinkedIn is number 5 on your Google search results. So
she looked me up.
Yeah. So it is important. It's super important to have. And actually, technically, it's number 3 if you count like the profile icons, but the full link is number 5. Is
that a bad thing or good? Is that average?
No, it's neutral. It's just showing that it's really important.
Okay. And you know what's funny is since we had that masterclass a couple days ago, I have been on there editing things, changing my picture, doing little things. I was like, what is connect versus follow? I don't even know what that means.
We're going to talk about it.
Okay, I cannot wait to learn all the things, you guys. I'm going to be a professional LinkedIn. I cannot wait. Thank you so much for your time. And if you guys were in the House of Influence, you'd be getting a one-on-one with Courtney next week when she comes in and speaks to the group. So if you have any interest in joining the next round of House of Influence, hit me up. If you are interested in going to Cabo for our in-person retreat in October, let me know. That is going to be life-changing in my favorite place. You guys know I got married there. I've been going to the same boutique hotel for over 10 years. I am friends with the owner, and it is the most epic, incredible place to mastermind, create content, and just like get into your zen, chill the fuck out type of energy. So thank you so much again for being on the show, Courtney. You're a legend. And we will see you guys next week on the Jessica Bergio Show. Take care.